Hey family, it's African Osorenko and I'm back at you with another video. Family, I hope you are doing well. I hope you all are blessed. I hope you are taking care of yourselves, watching the things that we eat, our intake, drinking plenty of water. Look, I'm telling y'all that water is essential. I drink at least 1.5 of these every day, per my doctor, okay? And just taking care of yourselves so that we can be as radiant as we can. And that's for the men and the women because we are the chosen people of God, okay? We are the chosen people, and our story shows it. But family, I hope you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I thank you for all of the subscribers. You are a blessing to our family. And I thank you for the new ones and the older subscribers. We appreciate you so much. So family, I'm coming to you again today to discuss our dear brother, Ibrahim Traore, as well as our brother Gaddafi, and how the West plays so many games, family, when a country, a black country, is trying to gain their sovereignty where they don't have to fall up under um, the rule of thumb of the West and have all of their resources drained and taken out and doing all kind of stuff with the leaders. But I'm gonna get into this story, family, and just for you to benefit under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, and teaching. Okay? So let's get into this story, family. And this story is from the Black Westchester. Okay? And it is an article by Mr. Damon K. Jones. And it was done April 22nd. So it says international politics when defenders of sovereignty are branded as threats. The hypocrisy of General Langley's words on Burkina Faso. When General Michael Langley, head of U.S. Africa Command, AFRICOM, labels Captain Ibrahim Traore, the leader of Burkina Faso, as a threat to his own people, we must pause and ask, who truly threatens Africa's future? Its sovereign leaders or foreign generals stationed thousands of miles away? We already know who threatens Africa. Let's not ignore the facts that Captain Traore has already survived multiple assassination attempts since taking power. And this is all due that he will not bend to the will of the West. And so they want to remove any obstacle that will allow them or will prevent them from stealing, because that's what it is, family, stealing the resources of that land. It goes on to say history tells us that when an African leader dares to stand on sovereignty, reclaim natural resources, and unite with neighboring nations against foreign influence, they become a target. Not because they endanger their people, but because they threaten the global interest. And that's all it is that the West wants their resources, their natural resources. So they feel they can bully them. Look, you know what's funny? Why don't they go over to Russia and bully them? They're not going to do that. Why don't they go over to North Korea and bully them? That is what they will not do. Why don't they go over to China and bully them? They won't, because they know that will set off a set of circumstances that will lead to the destruction of what we call the West. Okay? Captain Traore's so-called crime is daring to reclaim Burkina Faso's gold, not for multinational corporations or foreign banks, but to empower his own nation. His bold plan to use the country's wealth to fund infrastructure, development, and self reliance exposes the uncomfortable truth. Africa's poverty is manufactured, maintained by those who profit from its resources while keeping its people in chains of dependency. Hence, why so many Africans come over to the United States or the UK or France looking for better opportunities. The better opportunities, family, is in your own land. And I'm not saying that out of malicious. Look, if if I had you guys' hand, if most black Africans had you guys' hand where we have our own country and we don't have to deal with white supremacy, we would choose that. We would not come over into, my father used to have a saying, jumping out of the frying pan into the fire. We would not jump out the frying pan and get into the fire. You know what I'm saying? And this is the fire. So it further says, but Traore is not alone. Burkina Faso has joined forces with Mali and Niger to form the Alliance of Sahel States, a mutual defense pact designed to protect their sovereignty from both terrorist threats and foreign intervention. Together, these nations have expelled French troops, rejected Western military dictates, and charted a course towards self reliance. This regional unity represents a direct challenge to AFRICOM and the broader neo-colonial grip on West Africa. See, they go into every African nation and bully their way around, take the resources, and throw coins, a few coins at the leaders. Now, when they have leaders like these leaders who are real leaders, true leaders, then oh no, we got to get rid of them, and then they devise plans to try to remove those leaders, whether by force or however, by any means, they don't care. And that is why General Langley and others are sounding alarms. The late Muammar Gaddafi wasn't just demonized for his internal policies. He was targeted because he dared to dream beyond Libya's borders. Gaddafi envisioned a United States of Africa, a continent united under one government with a gold backed currency designed to break free from the IMF World Bank and Western financial exploitation. That vision posed an existential threat to those who profit from a divided and dependent Africa. And it's so sad. They uh unalived our brother Muammar Gaddafi, and this was a great man. This man even tried to give black Americans $1 million. I think it was it might have been, no, I'm sorry, it was more than a million. I think it was $1 billion. He wanted to give African Americans in America $1 billion so that we can start to build ourselves back up economically, because we have been stepped on so much here in America, and they put up so many barriers to keep us, you know, um, subjugated and economically deprived. Okay, it says so like Thomas Sankara before him. Thomas Sankara was another great leader who only wanted the best for his people who called out Western debt traps and fought for African dignity. Gaddafi was labeled a dictator, destabilized, and untimely assassinated. His nation was left in ruins, and his dream of African unity was buried under NATO bombs. You see what they do, family? This is what they have been doing, and I am so thankful to the Most High to see that the nations, the African nations, are rising up because it needs to be the United States of Africa. It needs to be that way, okay? It's only a matter of time before Western media outlets begin saturating headlines with familiar phrases. Authoritarian rule in Burkina Faso, human rights concern under Traore, democracy at risk in the Sahel. Do you hear this? Do you hear these lies? And yet, right here in America, black people are treated so poorly, it is ridiculous. And they really are. Everything in America is about race. Everything. Every single thing. You go to fill out a job application, they want to know your race. You go to fill out a home loan, your race. You go to a bank loan for a business, your race. Everything is about race because when they see that you are a black person, or a Black American, if you're not a Native American or you're not an immigrant Black person, then they can deny you business loans to prohibit you from growing economically. That our community. Yes, we have some rich African Americans, Beyonce and Oprah and them like that, but it's not collectively. You see how the wealth that was stolen from us in America amongst the whites, they stole our land. There was a black man that he had over 200 acres of land. They killed him and took his land and all of his money. These things have happened so much in America till it's not funny. They have done this time and time again. Even right now, they have something, oh Lord, it's on the tip of my tongue, where they can just take your land. They get eminent domain, where they can just snatch your land. They just did it like 2 or 3 times to older black couples. It just up in their age, like seniors, putting eminent domain on their land and then take their land. And one of the older ladies died. The woman was fighting them in court. Even Tyler Perry got involved to help her financially with her legal bills. And the woman died. Can you imagine being in your 80s under stress like that? Okay? From somebody, you didn't had your land and your property all these years, and here comes somebody just talking about they're going to take it. They're just going to take your land and everything, so you can't pass this down to your children and their children. This is what has happened in America, yet they are in other countries, in African countries, okay, talking about uh, human rights. The West is disgusting. These narratives aren't about protecting African citizens, they never were. They're about justifying sanctions, covert operations, and even military action to regain control of a region slipping from Western hands. We must remember how similar rhetoric was deployed to justify NATO's destruction of Libya, excuse France's decades long exploitation through the CFA franc, cover up the failures of AFRICOM, whose presence has coincided with a dramatic rise in terrorism across the Sahel. Look, think about in Nigeria, the group Boko Haram, that took all those girls and stuff. Who do you think gave Boko Haram the weapons and the things that they need? Who do you think does that? It's the West. That's who's doing that to create division, to create all kind of things that will happen that will then they got to step in. So they say they have to step in and do what Father says do, and Father says, "Now I'm gonna take over." It's just disgusting. When African leaders choose sovereignty over submission, Western powers don't respond with respect. They respond with regime change tactics, both economic and military. Captain Traore's vision, alongside Mali and Niger, represents more than national pride. It's a blueprint for African independence, and that's precisely why he's being labeled a threat. The true danger isn't Traore or the alliance of the Sahel states. It's the desperation of foreign powers unwilling to let Africa control its own destiny. Okay? General Langley's statement is not a defense of human rights, it's a defense of geopolitical interests. As media narratives intensify, Africans and the global diaspora must stay vigilant, question the headlines, follow the money, and recognize the patterns. Africa doesn't need AFRICOM's protection. It needs the freedom to determine its own future without being punished for daring to do so. And this General Langley is a black man, okay? They always use a black man to take out another black man. Notice that. Notice that. Because with Muammar Gaddafi, it was Obama, okay? They always use a black man or woman to take out another black man or woman. And I'm going to say that that right there is treasonous. And that is going to have to stop because we are going against own, our own, okay? Because African brothers and sisters are our own. President Traore even said Black Americans can come to Burkina Faso no visa. This is what he said. I know there are some uh, Africans who say they don't like Black Americans. Oh well, whatever. Who cares? But there are some that are down with us. They see our fight. They've seen our fight. They talk about our fight. That we fought this demon. Look, we have lived in the belly of the beast with this same demon for over 250 years. And we have survived. And they see that. See, if we were a weak people, they would have wiped us out. There wouldn't be any African Americans or Black Americans. Wouldn't be any. They would have wiped us out. But they could not because the Most High does not give them permission to do so. They may take us through changes, but we always come around. It doesn't matter. See, they can put sanctions on these countries. They can do whatever they want to do. But Africa will stand. When the West is dust, Africa will still be there. I guarantee you that. I promise you it will. But family, I thank you so much for joining me for this video. Please, as I said earlier, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much, family. Please be blessed out there. Hey, I don't care where you are in the world. Get away from the Caucasus Mountain people. The Bible says we must come out from her. We must separate ourselves from them. We must. It is time, family, for us to separate ourselves from these demons. All right, guys, I'll see you soon, okay? Blessings, peace, and love. Bye bye.